for so long in that game were right in it, Leon.
Yeah, I thought they did okay. Liverpool's first shot on target came in the 62nd, 63rd minute, and it was the goal. So they did a good job. The only disappointing thing was Everton had a good few opportunities on the counter-attack and didn't quite make Alisson work hard enough. But other than that, I thought Everton did well, stayed in the game, didn't give it up, didn't end up conceding 3 or 4 goals in a short period of time, still chasing the game towards the end. And unfortunate, remember going to Anfield where Liverpool are arguably the best in the world at the moment. One of the best teams at home, certainly. So it was always going to be difficult, but they stayed in the game.
Yep, they have got the best home record. They've won 12 in a row now at Anfield in the Premier League. So, some significant results again at this stage of the season in the Premier League today. Yesterday, of course, Manchester City did their job with those 5 goals against Watford. And in terms of the top 4 race, it was a very good day for Arsenal, beating Manchester United and then seeing Spurs only draw Brentford. There was a draw between Brighton and Southampton earlier on. The big result at the bottom was Burnley beating Wolves. Mati Vidra with the all-important goal. So Burnley moved out of the drop zone and Everton into it. Chelsea missed a penalty and then scored late on through Pulisic in the last minute to defeat West Ham. And Liverpool, who were 0-0 for 62 minutes, getting the job done by 2-0 against Everton. And Leeds are suddenly overlooking their shoulder now with Burnley and Everton behind them. They're at Crystal Palace on Monday to complete the Premier League weekend. So it's as you were before Saturday's game at the Etihad. The only difference is there's another game passed by. So it is a point between City and Liverpool. City have reduced the goal difference this weekend with those 5 against Watford, but just 5 to play now between the champions and Jurgen Klopp's side. As I say, Arsenal are in 4th with a 2-point lead over Spurs, having played the same number of games. They still have to play each other again, but they're now 6 clear of Manchester United, and they also have a game in hand on them. Big difference today was Burnley started the day in the relegation zone and Everton end it. Up to 31 points, 7 points from 9 under the interim caretaker manager Mike Jackson. Burnley out of the drop zone, but they've played a game more than Everton, but suddenly they're 2 points behind Leeds, and Leeds' game in hand, as I've mentioned, is at 14th place Crystal Palace on Monday. Frank Lampard had his plan, and it just swings one way and then the other. Liverpool next weekend will play first on Saturday morning. Manchester City play Saturday evening. Are we getting to the stage where any fine margin, any psychological edge could be crucial?
Yeah, listen, it's advantageous to play first if you win first. Put the pressure on the opponents. But now it's just going to be a ding-dong, isn't it? Right the way to the end of the season. There's just no slip-ups in these two teams. We're seeing, we've said it before, 2 of the best teams we've ever seen in the Premier League. And if anybody makes one slip-up, I'm convinced that the other team are going to pounce and go away and win the league. So no room for mistakes. That was a tough one out the way there. I thought Everton played pretty well, considering they're a team right down near the bottom of the league. They give Liverpool more problems than a lot of teams that have come to Anfield recently.
And although it's a defeat, is it important to remember that and try and take some of that for Everton's remaining games here?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect that to be the blueprint for the game coming up against Chelsea next week, to play from a good shape, stop the distances, make sure that you counter-attack very well and show that much commitment, because Everton, as we said, were very much in that game, more so than I've seen a number of teams at Anfield, and went about it the right way. So there are a few positives to take forward in the remaining games of the season in what are very, very difficult times.
How pivotal do you think was the double substitution that Jurgen Klopp made? Everyone expected Diaz to come on, but Origi in particular.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I thought Diaz is going to come on, and I thought Origi might come on 70, 75, something like that. It just shows you how important a big squad is. It shows you how important keeping everybody fit is, and even more important, keeping everybody happy. As I just touched on before, if I was a centre forward and every time I came on, I kept scoring goals and digging the team out of a hole, and then I hardly play at all season, then I come on again, to have that inside you, to give your manager a bit, I'd be pointing at him saying, now play me more, look what I can do. But the relationship between the manager and all the players is just extraordinary, really. And it's great management. It's great man management. It's great timing of the substitutes. And they certainly made a difference. They certainly
You could argue if Firmino was fit, Origi wouldn't have been in the thought process today as well.
Exactly, yeah. And Diaz, let's not forget, Diaz made a big impression as well with the assist of the second goal. But Origi is the thorn in the side of Everton on quite a few occasions. And of course, he's done it again now.
Yeah. OK, let's go back live to Anfield, where one of the goal scorers, I'm delighted to say, is waiting to speak to us. Andy Robertson.
Yeah.
There he is. Good to see you. Well done. How deep did you have to dig today?
Yeah, pretty deep. First half, I think we didn't quite get in the rhythm we wanted to. Got caught up with them probably too much. Played into their hands a wee bit. But second half, I thought we came out, played our own game, and the first goal is always crucial in these games. And I think after that, we took control of the game.
We've just been discussing here in the studio that double change the manager made of Diaz and Divock Origi seemed to change your mentality, but also Everton's.
Yeah, look, Diaz is. He's been unbelievable since he's came in. The impact he's had on the squad, the way he plays is different, and he's been exceptional. And Divock. Big game. He's a big game player, especially against Everton. I think his record's unbelievable, and I think when he came on, I just think the kind of mood changed in here. I thought Anfield just believed Divock was going to score, and that's the kind of attitude you have around him. So fantastic player, unbelievable, and so happy for him to get his goal as well.
And Divock had a hand in your goal, the all-important goal, really, to break the deadlock. What was that like, adrenaline rush-wise, in front of the Kop in a derby?
Yeah, unbelievable. My first ever goal at the Kop. Don't score many, so it was an incredible feeling. Scoring in a derby is good enough, but at the Kop end it doesn't get much better than that. And after that it was just we need to win this game. We need to focus and win the game, and luckily then we got the second goal, and a massive 3 points for us.
And that's a big moment for a Liverpool player in a game of that importance against this opposition, to see you react like that. That's right up there, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I've been waiting a long time to score a goal at that end. Any goal I've scored at Anfield, not that there's been many, it's all been up Anfield Road. So, incredible feeling scoring in front of the Kop, and hopefully there's a couple more to come. Hopefully I don't need to wait another 5 years for another one. But, like I said, I'm just happy to contribute to the team.
Andy, it's Michael Owen. I just wanted to understand what it is about Jurgen Klopp, how he can have such a great relationship. You see Divock Origi and him sort of embracing afterwards. To keep somebody on side that he rarely plays, what does he do? What's special about the man to have such a good relationship with all the players?
Look, it's we've got such a good squad, and there's quality players getting left at home, and there's quality players not getting as much game time as they want. Divock probably falls into that category, but when he comes on the park, he always delivers, and so does all the boys. When called upon, the lads always deliver, and it's down to the manager and the staff. You've been in squads before. It's impossible to keep your whole squad so happy with you. There's always people knocking on his door, wanting more game time and things like that. But we have a real good squad in terms of attitude. When we do cross the white lines, we give it all for each other. He's instilled that into the whole club. So we all just feed off that, and then the boys, like I said, when called upon, always show up and always deliver, and always have that determination to try and do well for the other lads.
15 points left to play for. You're back to 1. There's some race, this, isn't it?
Yeah, look, obviously they went first this weekend. I think we go first next weekend with the early kick-off, and that's obviously going to be a quick turnaround, but we'll focus on that when it comes to it. But hopefully it stays like that. It's always going to be tight. It's always going to be it's going to be close. Two fantastic teams. They know how to break down most teams. You've seen that yesterday with Watford. But we both have tough games coming up. We need to keep trying to win. We're playing against teams that have got things to fight for, and like today, and we just need to try and keep churning out 3 points. And if we do that, then come the end of May, let's see where we're at.
Indeed, and particularly at Anfield. I mean, this record now of 12 consecutive wins there.
Yeah, look, your home record's always crucial. We've been good on the road as well, to be fair to us, but your home games are always crucial. You always want to win them when you've got your fans on side, and I thought the fans created a fantastic atmosphere today, especially in the second half. Really drove us on. We know they can be nervous at times. We felt that a wee bit first half, but second half they got right behind us and really pushed us to victory. So hopefully the home game run continues. Hopefully the away game run continues, because we need to win every game. We can't slip up, and we just need to keep going, and what will be will be.
Well done today, Andy Robertson, Derby Day goal scorer. Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
Bye-bye.
Andy Robertson live at Anfield. I mean, he's right there, isn't he, when everyone's going to play their part. If they are going to get 2, 3, 4 trophies this season. Origi's a perfect example of that.
Exactly, yeah. And I mentioned before the game the importance of having everybody fit. At this stage of the season, middle of April, to have everybody fit, bar Firmino, but he's going to be back at the next game, I would have thought, is a brilliant position to be in. He's an embarrassment of riches, what players to play, and the ones that he doesn't play, he can bring them on to change the game. So it's Jurgen Klopp couldn't have put himself in a better position than he is at the moment.
What did you say to me when Divock Origi came on?
He scores in Champions League finals and against Everton. That's Divock Origi, and you just
6
knew
in 10 in the derby.
Yeah, you just knew when he was coming on that he'd probably have a big part to play in this game. He always just gets into these positions inside the 6-yard box, centre of goal, and when there may be occasions where Mo Salah may pull out to positions, Diaz pulls out into positions. He doesn't. He just gets right in the middle of the goal where most goals are scored and gets on the end of those chances. And invariably, the Everton defenders just lose track of him momentarily and he gets his goal.
I just love it when defenders stand sleeping and attackers are the ones that are moving. We're optimists. Defenders have got to be pessimists, haven't they? But he's the only one moving. I mean, to be fair, Fabinho behind him potentially would have mopped it up if he didn't. But you see Michael Keane there, he was stood ball watching and Origi was beating to it.
Have a look at some of these figures here for Divock Origi, because, as I say, he hasn't appeared much this season, certainly, and in seasons gone by. But since 18-19, look at some of the big goals he scored. The derbies, that crucial one that year at Newcastle. How can anyone forget the semi-final against Barcelona, the final against Spurs, and more derby games. And this season as well, when they were struggling at Molineux, at Wolves. In fact, Michael, he has appeared off the bench in the Premier League this season. He hasn't started a game on only 6 occasions, including today. And in 3 of those 6, including today, he scored. So give us an insight how difficult that is. That is hardly any game time in the Premier League. He's not starting any, and yet he's scoring big goals.
The easy bit is actually, if you're in a rhythm, the easy bit is coming on and making an impact as a substitute. Everybody's tiring. It's a free punch. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is the never playing bit, because you get out of a rhythm.
Here for 2 months off the bench. That's what I'm saying.
You get out of a rhythm. Your mindset is not playing. It's just, you go to bed on a Friday and you don't even expect to play. And it's all right saying, I always expect everybody should, you always should do. But your brain you can't compute that. If you just keep doing the right things and keep eating the right food and going to bed at the right time and training perfectly, and you keep getting disappointed every single weekend, something switches off at some point. For him to stay at that level and that sharpness, and every single time he gets called upon, he comes on and makes a difference, is quite staggering, really. He doesn't lose his fitness, he doesn't lose his sharpness, he doesn't lose anything.
His appetite.
His appetite to do it. And his attitude as well. Because as I said earlier, if I kept coming on and kept scoring and kept being brushed aside again and not starting and not playing and hardly getting brought on for the next games, I'd start getting a bit sickened by it. I'd start losing a bit of will to live type of thing. So fair play to him, great attitude, and he's made the difference. That Wolves goal this season was huge because that was late on. And of course, to break the deadlock as well, have a hand in the first goal, to seal the game today, another big moment for him. Just
sometimes, particularly on derby days, players like Divock Origi coming on today, and he's probably thinking, I've done this before against Everton. This is my stage. I can do this again.
Yeah, you definitely get a feel for those kind of things. You just feel that the moment's right. You know you're comfortable. You've done it before. Things are always expected to fall into place. And it does seem that when the Merseyside derby comes around, his chest comes out. He seems to get that look in his eye that today's going to be his day. And they always say, the players, when they're being interviewed, that he's a big game player, that he steps up in the moments, and he has a calmness about him that not all players have, and he shows it in the big games.
And as we're seeing at the moment, in every competition, Liverpool have a long list now of big game players, don't they?
Yeah, and match winners, match game changers from the bench. They've got everything. And I would never have said that a few years ago. I mean, you look at the front three, for example, you know, is Firmino, Salah and Mane, and Origi would come off the bench. Now they've got, you know, Jota, Diaz to add to that equation. And then, so Origi's almost sixth choice as attacking players at the moment. But when you've got such depth, again, we touched on it before the game, Liverpool, they've built this squad now that is as strong as anybody's. It used to be quite thin on the ground. I mean, they had a few injuries last season, and all of a sudden, you know, the house started crumbling around them, really. But one or two signings, keeping everybody fit, and it just shows you what a powerful squad can do.
OK, another 3 points for Liverpool. Another defeat for Everton, 2-0 in his first Merseyside derby in charge. Frank Lampard.
Frank, obviously not what you wanted. What did you make of it?
I thought we played well. I don't know what it looks like. In terms of possession, of course, the game plan was understanding that they're one of the best teams in the world, what they're doing to teams recently. So could we be disciplined and work hard within that? Yeah. Could we break and create chances? Yeah. They didn't threaten our goal at all in the first half. And then we had, you know, a couple of opportunities. Decore running through, moments in their box. So first half good. Start of the second half good, breaking away. If we get the first goal, the game feels completely different. But you know with Liverpool that there's always either a moment of brilliance, Mo Salah for the first goal, or because of their aggressive nature of their game, an overhead kick that bounces into the floor and lands on Origi's head. And that's, you know, the qualities that they have. In terms of, I can't ask any more of the players to give much more. As I say, if we get our goal, whilst we were not giving them real chances, I think the game feels completely different.
Do you think you had a reasonable penalty shout as well?
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not sure how clear cut it was, but the ref was quick to whip out a yellow card, and when the little stuff was going off in the middle of the pitch, I think if you look back with VAR, there's some questionable things going on in that too. Maybe that's to be expected when you come here.
Bit of talk in our studio. You played in the Chelsea side that came here 2014. That you were captain that day. Was that in your mind at all? That type of experience of coming here and frustrating Liverpool?
No. I remember it. I was number 10 at 35 years of age. I sort of did a really solid job, which we did on the day, and we obviously got a famous result, which had a big effect on stuff. But it wasn't. It was more the moment and now in this group of players. So we asked the players to be disciplined. As I say, if you watch them lately, what this team are doing to teams, if you try and come out and go toe-to-toe with them, we're not in that position to do that. We're in a position to be smart, and we were smart for 60 minutes. And then, unfortunately, the goal goes in, and then it becomes very difficult after that.
And that's all with losing Ben Godfrey in the warm-up.
Yeah. So, you know, it's... I've had some of those moments recently, and the important thing, and I'll be the first, is to stick with it, to work, to keep preparing, to play with attitude. And there's no doubt that the attitude and the way that the lads stuck to their task today was really, really good. And the thing we're missing is being clinical in those chances, because obviously both boxes affects the game.
Burnley's win today means you are now in the bottom three. Is it almost a psychological effect that has on you more than anything else, the fact you are in the bottom three? It
doesn't to me. It'll be spoken about, but we've got 6 games to Burnley's 5 left. Leeds are in there, so they play tomorrow. But to hang too much, we had to expect Burnley might win today and worry about our own job. So there's 18 points for us to fight for, which is a lot of points. So it's important for players, fans, club to not get sucked into that in a negative way. We're realists, it is what it is. But there are a lot of games for us to go and try and win. And with the attitude we showed in the pitch today, and the togetherness and the spirit, maybe a few things go our way that didn't go our way today, and we'll get the results.
You'll take points from anywhere, I'm sure, but is the focus particularly on those home games?
Yeah, on everything, Jeff. Now it's you know, we're at that point now. We showed a great organisation today away from home, which is something we've been striving for and working towards. So every game we have to be spot on. Every game we have to fight and believe, and absolutely believe. It's the whole club has to do that, because there will be some negative chat now. But we've been in this fight for a long time since I've got here. So if it goes to the end, let's stand up and take it to the end.
And your belief is no less than what it was just because you've dropped into the bottom three?
No, because we're coming to Liverpool. Let's be honest about it. This team, the way they play and the threats they have, you know what you can get here. That's why I was pleased with the way that we competed in this game. So, no, in fact, in terms of the performance, I'm more positive off the back of it.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
And on that point, Leon, are you less nervous looking at those fixtures to come, given the attitude and commitment you've seen again today, even though it's a defeat?
But yeah, I think there were positives to take out of that performance. I now actually believe that Everton can get something against Chelsea next week. I certainly wasn't feeling that before the game or from the last 4 or 5 performances. But after that one, they showed Frank Lampard was right. The organisation was very good. The tactical balance was pretty good. The fact that they were all working from the same notes. Was decision making, I felt, at the top end, and just having that composure to make Alice. I did think that there were a few positives to take from that performance. OK,
let's have a look at who's got what left to play, because as Frank Lampard quite rightly says, and Michael alluded to it earlier on as well, Leeds, who play in the Monday Night Football, will be looking over their shoulder as well. They're at Palace. They've got to play City, Arsenal, Chelsea, those 3 games next, and they finish there with Brighton and Brentford. Burnley go to Watford next. Burnley play before Everton. Then they're at home to Villa. They've got to go to Spurs and Villa and finish at home to Newcastle. And as you can see, Everton. Chelsea at home next Sunday. Leicester away, Watford away. Remember, they've got just 6 points on the road all season. Brentford, Palace, back-to-back home games, and they finish at the Emirates, and who knows how important that could be for Arsenal in terms of top 4 qualification. What are you feeling when you look at those 3 clubs in the set of fixtures?
I'm worried. There's no doubt about that. I've said I feel we can maybe get something against Chelsea now, but certainly not a given. Leicester away isn't easy because Everton's away form is dreadful. Watford is a game that you simply have to win, but it's away from home. So again, that's time to be nervous. And then, 2 home games against Brentford and Crystal Palace that you expect to win. But
do you think they might have to win both of them?
Yes, of course. But both of those teams have actually been pretty good this season, but especially Brentford of late. Leeds have got a tough run. They've got their next 4, if they get through the Palace game, that City, Arsenal, Chelsea stretch is tough. And as an Evertonian, you're hoping that they don't win against Palace and then they have that run and you're just able to be on their coattails and keep close to them. Because I do think that Burnley will pull away now. I think they've got momentum. I think at this stage of the season, you've got momentum and you're winning games 7 points from the last 9 with Watford away and another home game against Villa coming up. I think that they could get more wins.
I think you're going to have to get about 38 points to be safe, I would say, Steve. So Everton need 3 wins out of those 6. Maybe 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats, maybe would be okay. But I think they can do it. I think they can do it, honestly. On that performance today, if I was an Everton fan, I'd be thinking, we've got hope here. Leeds could get dragged into it. They've got an awful... If they don't beat Crystal Palace, they don't get something against Crystal Palace tomorrow, and all of a sudden I can't see them getting much in the 3 games after, and then, they're going to have to get probably 4 points out the last 2 games. So Leeds are in trouble as well. I agree. I think out the 3, I'd prefer to be in Burnley's shoes. I think they've got the momentum. They've got a few points, so obviously, recently. They're out the bottom 3 now. I'd say it's going to be between Everton and Leeds who goes down.
Right, fascinating. And who would have suggested that when Sean Dyche was relieved of his duties? Now, Frank Lampard was also alluding to a few refereeing situations in that game in the second half. Do you feel you could have had a penalty here, Leon?
Well, I certainly claimed for it. I was out of my chair thinking that it was, but I think it falls into that category that if the referee gives it, it won't be overruled by VAR, but if the referee hadn't given it VAR, we're never going to overrule it. I've seen penalties given for less. I've certainly seen penalties of that nature given. As Frank Lampard touched on, to get one of those at Anfield is a stretch because I think they have to be more certain than that for referees to be prepared to give them.
Yeah. I didn't think it was a pen, surprisingly. I've seen them given for that, though. So if he had blown the whistle, I would have not been surprised, put it that way. But on balance, I didn't think it was a penalty. I don't think there was a push. I think there was a little bit of an arm. Of course, when he goes down and then there's tangling legs and then everyone falls on the floor, you automatically think, wow. But that was not the situation. It was more, was there a push or not? And I don't think there was enough.
OK, that and much more needs to be discussed with Dermot Gallagher. Good to see you, Derm. Did you think that was a pen?
I didn't, on balance, Steve. I think there was a little push, but there's physical contact in the game. I'm in Michael's camp as well. I think once they go down, they're always going to tangle the legs. What I would say, in Leon's defence, I agree with him as well, that if the referee gives it on field, they're never going to overturn it on the VAR. I think this really is all about the referee's decision. He makes that decision. Whichever way he decides, the VAR is going to back him. You know, that's the vega of the VAR, but I think the referee called it right.
Anthony Gordon involved in the other penalty area in the first half as well. Went down, got a yellow card. What was your reading of this?
I don't like seeing this, Steve, and I like the referee's 2 yellow card for this. And the reason I say that is because I think if the referee does this a few times over the next few weeks, it will stop it, because it's the only thing that can stop it if the players get punished. I think if the referees don't take action, you will see the players willing to take a chance. I didn't think it was anything other than simulation. He will argue that he sees a tackle coming and he's trying to ride it, but you know, for me it's simulation, trying to win a penalty.
Would that have been in Paul Tierney's mind with that second incident in the second half, the fact that it was the same player and he'd already booked him for simulation?
In Stuart Atwell's mind, you mean?
Sorry, in Stuart Atwell's mind, yeah.
I don't think so. It was interesting, if you look at Stuart Atwell, he does what I like referees to do. He didn't knee-jerk reaction. He took his time, he thought about it, and I think what he's done, he's run it through his head and thought, yeah, there is a little bit of contact, there's the arm on the back. It's not enough to put him down because of the higher threshold they're operating this year that we saw come in following the Euros in the summer. And I think that's good when referees take the time. You know, don't rush in and regret it. You know, take your time and get it right.
Michael, Sadio Mane, towards the end of that first half, we've seen 2 incidents. What do you think?
I think he's got to be very careful. You cannot raise your hands and you can't put it in people's faces. And I think he's also got to be very thankful that the 2 Everton players didn't make a meal of it. Because the first one, that was on Allen, that was almost a push in the face. The other one was almost a poke, and it could have poked him in the eye. It was quite close. And I think, as I say, if any of those players go down and start rolling around, the referee could then go to VAR, have a look at it, and a raising the arm into somebody's face, you're really risking a red card. So I think he's got to be a bit careful in the future.
I just think that shouldn't be the issue. Should we say that players have to go to ground and roll around for that incident to be looked at? That is what we deem a red card offence, by putting your hand in somebody's face. He's done it twice within 15 seconds of each other. Neither Everton player has gone to ground. We were trying to credit that. And because of that, those incidents haven't been looked at. Singularly, those could both be yellow card offences at the very least, and he's done them very close together. So he could have been sent off for 2 yellow card offences in a short space of time, or been looked at by VAR, but neither was the case.
No, and you absolutely make a great point. We cannot just say if he had gone down and the players rolled around. That should not come into it at all. It should just be the action. Does that deserve a yellow card, a red card, or nothing? It shouldn't matter whether they go down or not. And it does. That's the problem. It does. We all see it. If someone goes down holding their face, you're obliged, or feel more obliged, I think, as an official, to look into it a little bit more deeper. But full credit to the Everton players for not sort of simulating, let's say.
You've heard the gentleman, Derm. What do you think?
I think it raises a number of issues, Steve. Firstly, is it violent or is it aggressive? I think they're both yellow card offences, and this is where the VAR is hamstrung, because it looks at them both and says, yeah, that's a yellow card, not a red card, so I can't get involved. Looks at the second one, that's a yellow card, yeah, not a red card, so I can't get involved. He can't recommend a yellow card, so therefore the referee sees the first one and acts on it because it's been brought to his attention by the assistant. The second one, as we see, happens behind his back. He doesn't see it. So unfortunately, Mane has been very, very fortunate for himself. Unfortunately for the referee, he's not in a position to see both. Unfortunately for the VAR, he's not in a position to recommend both as yellow cards.
Is that not, though? I know you're saying shouldn't get involved at yellow card offences, but Is that not one of those occasions where you actually say to the referee, did you actually see this incident? And if the referee says no, then you say, well, go and have a look. I'm not saying if it's a yellow or a red, but an incident has happened, and if you haven't seen it, go and take a look at it.
The problem is, Leon, that he can't recommend you go and look at a yellow card offence. This is the vega of the VAR, as I say. It's all or nothing. It's red card or nothing. And this is why I use the word hamstrung, because the VAR can't recommend him go to the screen. The referee can't ask the VAR, have you seen a yellow card offence in addition to one that I've seen? So we've got this almost middle ground that nobody can step into. And that's where Mane has felt really, really lucky.
Okay. One more thing with you, Dom. Richarlison and Jordan Henderson towards the end of the game. Right decision?
I think it is, Steve, because if you look at it, Richarlison's boot is already connected to Henderson's leg. And I think what happens, if you watch here, there's the boot, it's already there, and it's almost a push-off. It's not as if he's drawn his leg back towards him and then thumped his studs into his shin. You know, it's already there, so it's not a wise thing to do because you're running a massive risk taking that kind of action. But what I would say in his defence, it's more an aggressive action than a violent, brutal action.
Okay, Dermot, thank you very much indeed. And just on that, that's the type of commitment that Frank Lampard's been talking about and the attitude you've been talking about just needs channeling for Everton in these final 6 games.
Yeah, definitely. I thought they channelled it defensively well. I thought they channelled it as a team to remain in the game well. They need to make sure they channel it to... And sometimes that's calmness when you're getting into the final third because they need to start converting those...
What was the story of the game?
Thank God. A football game has 2 halves, so we needed it today a little bit, and that's fine. First half, obviously, we just didn't play really extremely well, let me say it like this. And then if you don't pass quick enough, if you don't accelerate around moments, if you don't offer runs in behind, if you don't pass in behind, yes, they had a low block, but there was still space between the last line and John Pickford, and so that were a lot of things where we could improve, and we improved before we scored already. That's good because you could see the different dynamic already before we did make the subs, but. It's really difficult to deal with 83% possession with the counter-attacking threat the opponent obviously has, and so I'm really, really happy because it's not about flying every week, it's about getting results every week, and today we got it, we deserved it, we had to work hard for it, no surprise, I knew that before, and so all good.
What's the key there? Believing, patience and not getting frustrated in that type of scenario? When you say it's a difficult game in terms of you've got all the possession but they're on the counter, etc., believing that it will come.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that some people thought we felt in the first half kind of pressure because of City game. It was not at all. We just didn't play well. It can happen. It's not nice, but it happens. And we were really calm in half time, which is the good thing about it. It's over first half, and the best thing about it is it's easy for us to improve because so far we didn't really show up 100%. So and then the boys stepped up, and that's really important. And the goals we scored was yes, the pass we played when for Div and from Mo to Div. There's a ball back, and then Rob arrives at the second post. Everton conceded a similar goal against Leicester, the second post area. We knew that the fullback will move inside, so you need then, but we didn't have this situation in the first half. We were just not. It was really stiff. So we've been stuck in traffic, and we didn't find spaces where we could really accelerate and speed up a little bit. And that was second half much better. So and that's why it's all good.
In midweek, you spoke about Divock Origi. You said he's already given me one of my favourite Liverpool memories, and what he does from us from the bench is just extraordinary. He doesn't always start. Has he done it again today?
Yeah, whatever will Div will do in his future, if he gets back for what he's doing here for Liverpool, then he we probably will never ever miss a player more than Divock Origi, because then he will just explode wherever he goes. So honestly, he's a world-class striker. He is, and he's not playing regularly here. And even sometimes he doesn't make the bench, which is absolutely ridiculous. But when he's asked, I mean, when we need him, then he's always there. He is a legend and will stay a legend for me forever. And what he did today again, to involved in both goals. With all the things we did better in the second half, without Divock, it probably wouldn't have happened. So again, him, and it's absolutely great, well deserved. Not only him, we had other players who are not involved today. The group lives because of these boys, and those are the strongest players ever I didn't have in a squad. Harvey is in brilliant shape. Also, didn't make the squad today. Takumi Minamino, it's unbelievable. Oxlade-Chamberlain, it's unbelievable. Even Reece Williams is in really good shape. So, and they didn't make the squad, and that's hard, but shows then how they behave, how they keep the mood up, and all these kind of things. Shows why we are able to do these kind of things.
We all talked about the points today, but also as well, is it momentum as the season comes to its conclusion?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we don't. What kind of alternative do we have? So there's not a lot of points we can drop or whatever it is, and so let me have a look tomorrow or tonight, whenever I can start with that, with the analyze for Villarreal. But the next one is really waiting around the corner. So so that's the situation we are in now. I think in an ideal world, we have for sure 8 games to play. If I'm right, yeah. And if it goes well, then maybe we can fit in a 9th one at the end, which would be great, obviously. But that means it's you have to win the games even when you are not at your absolute best, because that's when you have to show passion, desire, determination. And if you do that, then there's still a chance, because so many different ways to win a football game. You just have to find one. Today we found again one. That's great, and we have to keep searching.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, some fascinating thoughts from Jurgen Klopp. Let's go back to Anfield now, speak to the former Liverpool player Harry Kewell, who's been with us all day. They're the manager's thoughts. What did you make of it? What was it like being inside the ground?
Oh, first and foremost, it was excellent to be back. The atmosphere was electrifying. Maybe not in the first half, but once Diaz and Origi came on, it really livened up the crowd. And once you get players like that coming on, changing the game, you know, they got that first goal, and I couldn't see Everton coming back.
How significant did you think that double change was? Because as I was saying to Michael earlier, everyone predicted Diaz would come on, but not Divock Origi so early.
No, and I heard you all talk about Origi's what he does against Everton. So there was always a chance that he was going to come on. Didn't think he was going to do the double substitution then. But when you have Diaz, you know, coming on, and like I said, that's what they were missing in the first half. Someone running at defenders. You know, they were always getting out wide and passing the ball backwards. But when Diaz got that ball, attacked, he just started to open up the Everton defence, which was excellent.
Could you do what Divock Origi does? And you've heard Jurgen Klopp talking about him there being a legend. 6 substitute appearances all season. He scored in 3 of them. We know the big goals he's scored. How hard is that when you're not featuring all the time to produce that, Harry?
It is tough, and I heard Michael speaking about it before, and yes, you would be questioning it, but unfortunately, they have a wonderful side. Every single player is a superstar in this team, and they're playing for 4 trophies, and Jurgen Klopp needs every single player to be at the top of their form, whether they come on for 45 minutes, whether they play 90, whether they play 5. They've just got to be ready, and that's what he seems to have. He has these players that keep coming on and doing the business.
Harry, you've gone down the managerial route yourself. How unbelievable must it be to be standing in that dugout, turn around and look at... You've already got 3 world-class strikers on. You can pick another 3 in behind you. To have those options, how good is that for Jurgen Klopp?
Well, look, you're only as good as your goal scorers, and to be able to look back there and think, oh, which one can I put on to change the game? It must feel great, but he's had to work for it. And even like you can have world-class players, and we've seen many teams have fantastic players sitting on the bench. But again, this is the one probably ingredient that we all don't understand, is how he gets these players to come on and physically change the game. And it's just been perfect for Liverpool, and hopefully they can continue this.
And to pick these teams, he said there's 8 games to go. There might be 9 if they get into that Champions League final, where he's got that freshness. Only a couple of changes today, but they were crucial ones.
Well, that's the important thing. He's got this freshness and I'm sure he will probably change it for the semi-final. And again, he will change it again. But again, he's not changing it for players that are not ready. These players are ready to come on and push this Liverpool team to hopefully do the four trophies.
Do you see City and Liverpool winning all their remaining games now, Harry?
Unfortunately, I do. I can't see any of them slipping up. I think they're both wonderful teams. They're both playing fantastic football. And like I said, I just can't see anyone stopping them.
Michael, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd agree with it. I mean, the Premier League has always been so competitive, but these two teams, with the added incentive, of course, of lifting the trophy at the end of it, but they're so much better than the rest at the moment. They are the best two teams we've seen in a long, long time. And I look through the list there, and there's tough games, yes, but I just can't see either team slipping up. And it's quite ironic because I think Liverpool probably want to win the Premier League more, and Manchester City want to win the Champions League more. But I've got a funny feeling they're going to be winning the opposites this season, and possibly both teams there will win all of those games.
Do you see that 9th game for Liverpool, and do you see it against City, the Champions League final?
I think you have to see it's going that way. It certainly looks the way. I mean, they're both the strongest teams. I don't think there's any getting away from that. They're the strongest teams in Europe, potentially the world, and you just see them both keeping on winning games. You see them picking up the necessary points, getting through in the Champions League semi-finals. You just wonder if there was going to be a moment where either of them would drop a point. It might be off the back of the Champions League semi-finals, or in the game in between, where the priorities are maybe just distracted, because it is an important game, the Champions League finals, no doubt about it. Big games that they have to get through. So maybe they'll slip up in their moments, but I can't see it.
That's the point, Harry, isn't it? We don't know how these semi-finals, particularly for City against Real Madrid, are going to go, what they're going to take out of them, what story they're going to throw up, and then to return to Premier League action 2 or 3